right, Tito in the super chat says, "Is Nick still coping about yesterday?" Is he?
He kind of was coping a little bit. I was watching his stream like late last night when it was like really late because he streamed like pretty late into the night. And every time like XQC said something stupid, he would be like, "Guys, clearly XQC's a genius." And I'm like, oh, okay.
I'm sorry, I still hold the opinion that he didn't do that bad. Like, I don't think he did great. I don't think he wiped the floor with Ethan or anything like that or anything close. The problem with XQC is that every time he talks, he's like, like he sounds like a fucking chimp, all right? And he like moves too. So even if he's making a point where he's like, whoa, alcohol, it's like, okay, that's a fair point, but you sound fucking stupid.
Yeah.
You know?
Also, Nick said on stream that he only saw like the later part of the debate and not the earlier part of the debate, so that's why he got caught in like,
oh yeah, by the time Hassan and Trainwrecks came in, yeah, he was useless. I agree.
Yeah, 100%. I 100% agree with that. Yeah.
When he was
when I was
just
saying he was
one-on-one,
doing, that's what I was referring to, like one-on-one with Ethan. Like I still like overall, if the debate ended with just XQC and Ethan, I think Ethan won, but I think XQC caused Ethan to explore his opinion a little more and like think about the specifics. Because you could tell like Ethan was trying to like think out how to answer certain things without having an immediate answer, which is good. You can get his mindset on certain things. So I think XQC did a good job in that sense.
Well, there's also like the thing there, like when he was going one-on-one with Ethan, he pinned him on a couple points. First of all, he pinned him on the alcohol point, which was really nice. And I've already gone over that point in more detail, but I forgot about this earlier in the debate. He pushed Ethan when Ethan was laying out his reasons for why he thinks this specific gambling stuff was a scam. XQC was like, wait, so you think or do you know? Because earlier you said you knew. And Ethan was like, well, I mean, I was being my editorial, I was giving my opinion. And it's like, well.
Yeah, and then he went on to say that everything on his show is editorial, which that statement paints like a picture of all of his previous content. So the fact that XQC got Ethan to say that, I think that's important.
That's kind of interesting that he did that. Yeah,
exactly. He can't downplay that. Yeah, because like, does that mean when Ethan says James Charles is a pedo, it's editorial? It's interesting. I think he did a decent job.
Yeah, no, I thought the debate was interesting. I thought Trainwrecks came on there and wiped the floor with him because Ethan was kind of talking out his ass when it came to Trainwrecks. But to be fair, all right, I did think Ethan brought up some decent points when it came to specifically how sketchy these places are. I thought Ethan brought some interesting insight into, because I mean, Ethan does come from the CSGO Lotto situation back in 2016, which was like a big deal back then, by the way, guys. I mean, even if you weren't around like on the YouTube community for that, I mean, you knew what CSGO Lotto was. You heard bits and pieces of it. CSGO Lotto was like one of those events on the internet that like the effects of it are still like, I feel like almost like felt like to this day, like some sort of like internet like 9/11 or you know what I mean? Like not to that extreme, but it's like CSGO Lotto kind of shook things up a little bit when it came to gambling online, especially in video games and promoting and stuff like that. So we're kind of seeing like, I think without CSGO Lotto, this current like war on gambling on Twitch wouldn't be that big of a deal. I mean, I guess it isn't that big of a deal because nobody fucking cares. We have 700 viewers right now, but like, you know what I mean, all right? There is something of a conversation going on right now about the ethics and the morals of gambling. And there's interesting elements to it in the sense that like, yeah, these websites, they are unregulated. They do use crypto for a reason, and they are operated out of a crack shack, all right? Which are all things that are interesting to note. But, all right, when it comes to just gambling, period, because the conversation last night kind of like entered into like, there was like two different conversations going on. It was, are these websites trustworthy? Are you looking into your sponsors properly before taking them? And also it's like, is it moral to gamble? Which, I mean, regardless of whether it is or not, I don't really care. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter to me. Like, I think streamers should be allowed to drink or smoke or gamble or really do anything. Because, I mean, I don't really,
I think the bigger issue 100% is the websites that they're promoting for the gambling rather than the gambling itself. Although there are arguments against gambling itself. I think the bigger issue is the scammy websites. Honestly, for the debate, I think Ethan was on the right side of the argument, but Trainwrecks did his position better. So Trainwrecks won, but also I agree with Ethan more, if that makes sense. But I think he didn't argue his point as well as Trainwrecks did.
Do you think that gambling should be allowed on Twitch? Like, I mean, I guess we sort of had this discussion last night or something, because I think that's a pretty easy to say yes. Like, I think it's pretty, like, I find it's very difficult for me to argue that gambling should be off Twitch. I feel like it gets into this argument of like, you know, because like earlier there was this whole discussion discussion of like, should sexual content be allowed on Twitch? Should titty streamers be allowed to be on Twitch? You know what I mean? I feel like the guys who are like super anti-gambling being on Twitch are all pro titty streamers being on Twitch, right? They're making the same arguments that people make against sexual content, but against gambling. So it's like, there's this weird arbitrary line being drawn, and it doesn't really make much sense to me. To me, it's kind of like it's a very like one or the other issue. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess gambling addiction is more of an issue than sexual addiction.
I would argue gambling content is probably like worse, technically, right? Like it's definitely worse. It's definitely higher up there, but I think it should all like, I don't know, like, or at the very least, Twitch should outline it. Twitch always like pussies around these issues, right? Like they had like that Indie Fox girl that was like streaming, and everybody was like, wow, she's really kind of pushing the line here, but Twitch wasn't doing anything. But then when like one tweet went viral, instantly they ban her, which is like fine, all right, if they want to run the platform that way. But it's like, you allowed this before, but then when a tweet went viral, like, does Twitter just control what Twitch's TOS is? Like, is Twitch's like terms of service just entirely dependent on what Twitter decides is like the issue? Is Twitter gonna ban Trainwrecks now or XQC because Ethan's making a big fuss about it and it's getting a lot of views and attention? So Twitch is gonna be like, damn, I guess we gotta crack down on this now. I don't like that.
I think I heard Noah Hogbox say this on a stream. It might not be him, but this is what I think he said. They were like at a dinner with Twitch staff, and they literally were bragging about how they just don't care about the rules and they just ban whoever they want and like use a rule as an excuse. As for my opinion on whether gambling should be banned or not, I think it should be allowed, but I also think if it's gonna be allowed, it should be with the stipulation that you're transparent about if you're using your own money or you're using sponsor money and stuff like that. Like the way Trainwrecks is doing it, not the way Aiden Ross is doing it. Because at that point, it gets into like scam territory, right? Like if the website is like faking wins for the streamers to make it look like they win more than they lose, and then people think that they can win just as much as the streamer, but it's rigged for them in their favor, and then they're tricked into losing money. Yeah, I think that's an issue. But if the, gambling isn't rigged in the streamer's favor and they're straight up about the money and stuff, I feel like it's fine.
Let's see, where was
that's the line I draw anyway.
This was kind of an interesting moment that happened after the debate. People were digging through Ethan's shit, right? And like everyone does during drama, they found this old clip right here. So this is a clip from last night, and then it's gonna play an old clip.
It's all bad. Guess what? Surprise, it's all bad. If you love sports, then there is no better way to make it more fun and exciting than DraftKings, the leader in one-day fantasy sports. To add to this week's excitement in sports, DraftKings has millions of dollars in total prizes up for grabs. And if you have not tried DraftKings yet, head to the App Store now, because you don't want to miss this. This is how it works. Pick your lineup.
This is how it works.
You stay under the salary cap. You see how your team stacks up against the competition. Nothing adds to the excitement of watching the game quite like having a shot at millions of dollars in prizes. DraftKings has paid out billions of dollars to winners since 2012, so they know a thing or two about cold hard cash.
So there he is promoting DraftKings.
People have also pointed out that he has loot boxes in his mobile game, H3 Ball.
Yeah, I had that loaded up right here. With all this gambling bad debate between H3, XQC, and Trainwrecks Hassan out of the way, should I stream a loot box opening of H3 Ball Rider? Sounds like a fun and addictive gamble. Wait a minute, what is that? Loot box? I mean, seems like gambling to me, right? At least in concept.
And I don't have an issue with the H3 Ball Rider stuff or his sponsor. It's just that it's hypocritical, because I feel like if Trainwrecks was doing this, or XQC, along with his gambling stuff, that would be a point against him. But maybe not. I don't know. We haven't heard H3 elaborate on this. I mean, clearly he's fine with it because he does it himself.
What did you guys think of the debate overall? I missed like the discussion of it.
I thought it was really interesting. Apparently nobody else thought so, but I thought it was
interesting. Because we haven't seen Ethan well, maybe he did do a debate like years and years ago, but we haven't seen Ethan in recent years do an actual debate. So it's interesting to see like how he debates regardless of what the topic is.
I think
like what he will like resort to if he feels like he's like losing, aka calling up Hassan.
Trainwreck absolutely curb stomped him, I think.
Yeah,
I hope Trainwreck gets help.
I don't
he
think
definitely has like a crippling
He just fucking wrecked H3. I hope he just fucking does that again.
He wrecked H3 so hard he turned H3 into the Dr. Phil show.
I don't know. Like
he brought back H3's comedy career.
We could joke about it, but like, dude, that guy saying saying that like
He
says that
loses
Aiden
$3 million a month.
Dude, no, it's worse. It's like that shit that he said about Aiden Ross. Dude, Aiden Ross doesn't even play with his own money, and then he like immediately turned over, going, "Well, yeah, I get paid $1 million a month. However, I'm $1.8 million in debt." And I spend all of that money, and I can't stop myself from doing it. I gamble every single place that I go, and I'm just like.
Wait, he said he was in debt? I didn't hear that part.
Yeah. So like, if he's in debt, is he like? I understand the concept of like, yeah, he could spend that money on whatever he wants, but like, if I was multiple $1 million in debt, I would probably take that money myself. He goes, I don't know why they use me. I tell everybody not to gamble when I'm live. I don't want people to gamble or whatever and stuff like that. And it's just like, I kind of think maybe it's because they know that whatever money they give him is going to go back into this company.
Well,
Yeah,
I thought Ethan brought up a decent point when he was like saying like, look, I present a very realistic thing about gambling. I'm not trying to get people to gamble. And Ethan was like, all right, come on, dude, but you still got the code. You got the referral link. All right. So you can say
Ethan,
that all
like,
you
it's
want.
hard to
I thought that was a
exact
decent
com-
point.
I think
H3.
Ethan curb stomped him on that talking point because of just the fact that it sounded like
He needed to just
listening
come
to
off and just
Trainwreck's
say
talk,
he doesn't give a fuck. All right. But
he should have
Trainwreck
just
couldn't
came.
eat that.
Yeah. Because all these guys were trying to like shift the side virtue signal. It's weird. Maybe because if they just came out and said like, "Hey, dude, I don't care about gambling. That's gay as fuck," like that would have turned off the majority audience.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what they needed to say. They kind of like went halfway on the like, yeah,
To
dude,
be
gambling
fair-
is bad. Gambling is bad, but like you stream it all the time. Like,
Yeah. Well, actually,
you know,
quit
like
gambling.
it hurts. It hurts so much.
No, I thought, yeah, they needed to do that. I feel
Not
like
as
it
much
would-
as H3 not being able to answer on like specific topics, though. I think he looked like a giant fucking like.
Feel like
douchebag during
Ethan
that
would have
whole
done
thing.
better if he did more research going
Dude,
into it.
Yeah.
this debate
Clearly-
shouldn't have existed. And I kind of ran a summary on YouTube. The problem is Ethan literally admits in the first like hour of the call that he hasn't done any research on train wrecks. So realistically, this conversation shouldn't have progressed at all. The fact that it did is like obviously like relation to what train wrecks and XQC were saying. I felt like they were trying to match the virtue signal a little bit, and that's what gave Ethan the room to keep the discussion going and win the popular crowd. In reality,
he
if
win
you
the
say I
popular
haven't
crowd?
watched any
What's
of your
Ethan's
videos,
better
that
in
should
terms
have
of popular?
I don't know what.
No,
the
definitely
consensus
not.
is.
I've seen multiple polls that put Ethan at like 89% winning that, and I think most
I
of
would
Ethan's
actually.
audience comes
I
away
didn't
pretty
know
happy about
that.
it.
I didn't know
Twitch
that.
people
but
have a fucking brain parasite. What the fuck?
Dude,
Well,
it's
okay, here's the deal. All right, I will give this. First of all, Ethan came off that virtue signal stuff. That shit works for the audience. But also, Ethan was, you know, he came off as like the normal guy because XQC was denouncing gambling because he got addicted, and the other guy literally is addicted right now. So
Yeah, like,
to the
that's what I'm trying
audience,
to
they
say.
were looking
Dude,
at it
like,
like, okay,
imagine
these
in, like,
guys
a
are
parallel-
like AIDS. Yeah.
Imagine
fuck
in like
gambling.
a parallel universe, right? Like we're advocating for the blood alcohol content to be raised for a DUI, right? And the guys that you chose to debate why that should happen, why we should have like less DUIs and stuff like that, is a person at the scene of a crime where they just ran somebody over. Like that's what we're trying to talk. That's why it's just like I don't think Trainwrecks was the opportune person to have that conversation because everything he kept saying enabled Ethan to like virtue signal more, and that's where he wins. The
Alternatively,
stupid crowd.
I feel like if Train had gone more into like why it doesn't matter, if you'd done
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
he would have been the perfect person in that.
Because I agree with
conversation.
his premise. Like, yeah, actually, you know what? Yeah, if he turned around and said that, but again, like once he says like I'm $1 million plus in debt, dude, his argument makes no sense for me. Like for that,
I still think you
I
stomped him out
remember
though.
him saying that he was in debt, so I didn't hear that part, I guess.
I still think you stomped him out when he came in there because Ethan was like pretending like everybody was Aiden Ross, and then when he came in there, he was like, "No, motherfucker, let me sit you down and tell you how this works." And then Ethan was kind of like, "Oh,
Yeah,
well,
he did
had
get
to
Ethan to
backtrack."
backpedal because Ethan
So
did initially say Trainwrecks and Aiden Ross are the same badness.
He made
and then
Ethan
he
backtrack
backpedaled.
so hard. Ethan started talking about, "I feel bad about your mental health, man. I think you need to get some." Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck? Who cares? Like, what are you talking about?
And
Nobody-
latching on, it's like it's running a shed. Oh my gosh, a shed. It's like
yeah.
I don't know. I think it's just indicative that Ethan's not a very intelligent person.
So the
either,
shed
though.
thing is really interesting. I haven't looked into it, but a
Did
lot
you
of
see
people are
that
writing it
clip?
off now. Yeah, a lot of people are writing it off now as in like, okay, that's proof that Ethan got the wrong address. Conceptually, I don't know if you've considered this. It's possible that proves it's a scam, right? Like if that's where like it's registered from and that it's not a fucking casino, that's
Right.
more in like I
Well,
would
it's
think
more of a
more.
It's
a
more of a
scam.
because like Mudahar's video is like really good on this, and I think like the biggest question is whether or not this specific online casino is actively telling its affiliates in the United States to advocate or to promote it as a VPN friendly service, because if they're doing that, then it is absolutely a scam. But Ethan's like criteria for a scam, it's like, oh, it's running in a shed, it's being done with crypto. He sounds like a fucking retard. Like, there's actual evidence that seems to suggest that it's a scam, but he's not like high discipline enough to actually know what the actual evidence would be.
Like, all right, so I wrote like a little write-up on every single person in this debate, and the one that I have with Ethan, the biggest problem I have with him is he comes to debates with a full news team fully active at the same time, and you could hear multiple times in the debate he tried to pull a gotcha. My favorite gotcha is when he goes, isn't this you posting highlights to YouTube? And then Trainwreck is like, no, fuck you, buddy, that's not me, someone else re-uploaded that clip. Okay, maybe you should do a little better research next time. But that's because he's got fucking Dan2, Dan's girlfriend, and Dan's fucking dog raping Star Killer in like the fucking background, literally like Googling everybody's like information at the given second. The fact of the matter is, I don't think Ethan does a lot of his own research, and I think that's why there's so many inconsistencies with stuff he's talking about. I think he looks better in this conversation walking away from it in total, because I think everyone else around him looks really bad. But I think when you look at it from the perspective that Ethan has promoted gambling multiple times, Ethan runs a mobile game that has all these extremely large fucking... Dude, mobile games literally make their money off of whales spending tons of money, and colorful games attract kids. So like, if you're going to sit here and say gambling is bad, but you promoted DraftKings, well, they're not the same as an online slot machine. Dog, 100% still gambling. Absolutely still gambling. If you're saying that Trainwreck, who claims to have an older audience and tells everybody not to gamble and makes his streams 18 plus or whatever, I don't know, I haven't seen them, but that's like his claim, right? And you're running a mobile game that's extremely colorful, it's made off of your memes and shit like that. Okay, well, you kind of look like a dick. If you're saying all this stuff is harmful, but you promoted vaping for fucking 4 years and still your biggest video on your channel is about Vape Nation, all right, like, I mean, where's your leg to stand on? You're just kind of a dick, and that's kind of where I am at. I guess.
And another point, I think Trainwreck's got Ethan on the most. I think this was like Trainwreck's best point against Ethan was when he was talking about how Ethan was basically saying, oh, then don't take the money. And then he's like, oh, well, it shouldn't be about the money. It should be about if I'm doing gambling streams, period, or not.
But Ethan took the money. Ethan took a lot of money. Like, oh, God. And it's like, oh, you can't really say like Hassan was brought in to defend Ethan, because Trainwreck was 100% brought in to help XQC. Because you notice,
I think,
and this was the problem with last night's stream, is that I had only watched Hassan Piker on the stream after. So I didn't see the XQC in the beginning. XQC in the beginning made his only points in the entire debate. And then after Train comes in, XQC transitions to like he's reacting to a previous.
I agree.
I agree that XQC after the Hassan, like after Trainer was brought in, basically.
And you hadn't seen that when we talked last night.
Yeah.
I had only seen the beginning, and you had only seen the end. So
I thought he did okay. I thought he did okay.
Let's say that XQC was able to at least like keep up with the arguments that Train was making and actually like agree and follow up with it. But yeah, Train.
By the end of it, he was just like, "You're just saying that Gamba bad, Gamba bad," and I'm just like, and like everyone else was like, "All right, XQC, chill. All right, Hassan."
I think the big winning points for Train was that every time Ethan showed his ass about like not knowing what he was talking about, XQC made not XQC, but Train made sure to like actively say, it's like, okay, so you just don't know what you're talking about, and like constantly reminded that. I don't know. I guess like it just, they have bigger audiences, so that more people thought they did well. But I think
it was
I think Train just absolutely brutalized H3, and H3 should be really fucking embarrassed for himself.
It's like if you could prove it's a scam, it's fucking over. Nobody on Twitch or YouTube or anybody is going to like. That's why the debate's so pointless, right? If you could prove it, which I think you should be able to, if it actually is a scam, like without a shadow of a doubt.
If there's like direct correspondence, if there's direct correspondence between them and the people that are promoting it, saying to like advertise this as VPN friendly when they know that they're not allowed to like do that, and they can just like say that we're not going to pay you out because we know that you're operating within the US, then yeah, that's 100% a scam. But like,
I think this debate happened 2 weeks early. I feel like all this information is going to get peddled out at some point. I think Ethan really jumped the gun on it because his Aiden Ross one was so like impactful. Like that conversation did really well for him.
Which really sucks, because if the VPN stuff comes out to be like they're actively pushing their affiliates to do that, then Ethan's gonna like grandstand. It's like, well, I knew it all along. It wasn't the argumentation that I was making. It's not the shed, but like I'm gonna play victory.
And I can kind of understand it because like historically, I don't know. You haven't really been in this community for a while. I think Bowblax and Augie will agree with me that this shit looks like a fucking scam, dude. Based off of
I think it's a scam.
prior knowledge
If someone
but like the CS:GO Lotto shit looked just like this. Like I feel I'm
and
having
I was
the
very
fucking
vaguely
same
around in
vibes.
2016. I was kind of just getting into the community back then. That was CS:GO Lotto was like the first
historically, there have been so many shitty influencer scams that people have taken part in just because there's a lot of money. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but Jake Paul started a trend where there were mystery boxes that were being released where basically all you did was like buy in and it would give you like a random item. You could have got like a Supreme pen, like a Supreme brick, or you could have got like a fucking Maserati, right? Nobody got their shit. Rice Gum promoted it, Jake promoted it. It was just some fucking company out in the middle of nowhere and nobody got their shit, dude. CS:GO, what was it? CS:GO Wild, CS:GO Lotto, all these different websites and stuff like that popped up, and like,
well, the CS:GO stuff was like actively being shelled out by the people that were like cheating people. Like,
yeah.
That sounds like they were just like that sounds like some opportunistic company like used a bunch of dumb influencers to like prop up.
Well, no,
the
they
product
owned
and, like,
it.
left them.
No, they owned it.
CS:GO owned it.
Influencers
So they owned it, and they were fucking with their own
They
odds
made
to
it.
promote it to
Right.
everybody. Like Syndicate and T Martin owned one of them. FaZe Banks owned another one. And like for this one, it's like maybe they don't own these fucking like crypto slot machine companies, but if when they go live, the company is like fucking with their odds and shit like that, then like the feds are gonna probably come in.
Yeah. If someone were to bet my life on it, like right now, like I had to pick if it's not a scam or if it's a scam, I'd say it's a scam.
I don't know
That'd
if
be
the
my
feds would
choice.
actually have any jurisdiction. I think that's why they operate out of like other countries. I think Budahar was bringing up specifically they were being suspected of money laundering, and that's something that I can tell you for a fact the federal government takes like super duper fucking seriously. But I don't know if like I don't know like how much they would be able to like go in on that specific like.
See, like even with like what happened with Syndicate and T Martin, I don't know if it's Syndicate and T Martin in particular, but I know it was like CS:GO Wild is like basically what these Americans were doing was partnering with people from out of the country and wiring all the money through them. That's how that was being done. So it was like they were running the company or whatever, but all the money was handled over. It's like really scammy. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that like a lot of H3 stuff is like, well, it looks and sounds like it, but I don't have any like actual evidence, and it's just because it probably is a scam based on like the actual evidence out there. It's just
The part that really sucks is like if it is a scam and this becomes a huge deal and Ethan gets what he wants, they're gonna ban like poker from Twitch. I don't think that's like gambling doesn't need to go off of Twitch. I don't care if you have like
poker is a little bit different from gambling.
No,
I
I know, but if they're gonna probably
gambling,
remove
but
that whole category, like it's just like you're not gonna be able to do like fucking blackjack shit. You're not gonna be able to go stream at a casino and shit like that. Can you play with a casino in GTA? I guess like it's a
Well, it's not
slippery
real
slope.
money. It's not
Oh,
real
by the way,
money.
my favorite fucking moment in the whole debate is when he goes, "No, that's a slippery slope," and then fucking Hassan goes, "Well, actually, that's a fallacy." He goes, "Don't use words like that. Those are too big of words or whatever." But like he was using this. Oh fuck!
That's
He's always
so
he goes, "It's a slippery slope fallacy. Too many syllables."
Slow down.
But I do feel good that like all these Twitch streamers are getting like royally fucked by Ethan after they promoted him for a year.
Oh, because of content nuke.
Yeah. They were like sucking his cock and like about frenemies and
I
content
feel
nuke
like
for a year.
XQC himself was like super into like content nuke or something like that.
And like
No, they're
anti-Leafy.
super friendly. Like after the debate though, they're like, "Oh, we still can be friendly, whatever." And then on Twitter they were like kissing each other's asses. So XQC
but
and
that's how all these
H3
streamers are.
Yeah,
They're all fake as fuck
Trainwreck
to each
wasn't
other.
doing that.
And
Trainwreck
Twitch
wasn't
kinda
doing
demands
that.
it. Twitch,
I
yeah.
want to be clear. Trainwreck wasn't doing that. It was only XQC. Trainwreck is like fuck Ethan.
Yeah,
XQC
none
is
of
like,
these streamers are actually friends. The minute you're out of the money, they don't talk to each other anymore.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I
Well,
guess.
and also
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I think
yeah.
Twitch
I'm
like
sure
demands
there's, like-
that they do it.
Yeah,
I don't
Hassan's
think-
biggest problem in that debate is he's like basically saying gambling is above like alcohol, smoking, and every other possible
Yeah, that
negative.
was-
I
thing.
think
really
one of his biggest
retarded.
mistakes for Hassan is like they were talking to Ethan and then Hassan's like, "I didn't say that," and it's so clear they're talking to Ethan.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, this debate is about Ethan versus XQC initially.
Like, I don't know. I don't really give a fuck if like some people online like can't contain themselves. Nobody's rallying to like end McDonald's because I eat a lot of it. You know what I mean? Like I don't really care if like some people like get, again, like dude, I don't think like that means I should never drink alcohol. I should never smoke. I should never do any of this. And like if we made a tier list of what's like gonna get kids gambling more, I don't think a Trainwreck stream beats out child-looking colorful mobile game and like DraftKings where you're like betting on sports teams where they have DraftKings shit on literally the boards on the Ranger games.
Yeah. Somebody sent me a tweet relating to this issue, but the person who made the tweet has me blocked on both of my accounts. They like really fucking hate me.
Oh, there's so much coping right now. Like the amount of
hypocrite. Oh my goodness.
Ethan says some gambling is fine now. Basically, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Look, I've never
gambling's fine.
Decision where somebody.
Yeah.
What is he talking?
Oh, so now H3 saying gambling's fine.
I thought it was like
where's
one of the worst
to
vices.
be clear, in the context of the Asmongold one, I don't know when this is from, but he goes, I like to gamble, and then he goes, gambling is fine. He doesn't say streaming gambling is fine.
So it basically H3's point is that gambling itself, like off stream, like is fine, but okay.
It's just like
wait. You mean after everybody was posting all day how he's done gambling ads and has a mobile game, an hour ago he went on a stream saying gambling is fine? Yeah, I don't really care.
It's actually really difficult to tell if this is a contradiction because he's like nuanced his like position so much that it's like I don't know what his real thoughts are.
I think it's kind of the point though. I think that's like how Ethan just like manages to like constantly just get away with all this shit.
Dude, the thing he loses on 100% unfathomably is that like, he runs a mobile game that looks like a fucking, it's just like filled with bright colors and shit like that with gigantic fucking expensive loot boxes. I don't think you can come back from that one. Like you can argue the DraftKings one if you're like a complete super fan, but I don't think anyone's gonna argue in favor of one time only, 2 times.
Towards kids, yeah.
I mean, it might not be targeted towards kids. I don't want to.
H3 is gotta be in their fucking 20s and 30s.
It's part of the target demographic. Like I'm sure adults and kids are both in the target demographic.
I hate words like that because like every YouTuber says this guy has a child audience for everyone they don't like, and then everybody they do like, they like, well, actually, it's a bit more nuanced than that. I think he has a lot of like 18 to 24-year-olds in his audience. You don't really see it.
I don't care if anyone has a child audience. Well, I don't know.
Yeah,
why
I mark my videos
so
as not for kids, so if they come, I don't know, dude, bully them.
That argument only really makes sense if they're like Blippi or like Coco or something, you know?
Yeah.
Where it's like literally only for kids. Like
or
if you're 10,
like
you'll like hate
Clues, fucking loot
like
boxes and shit like that.
Yeah. Coco Melon. And...
Dude, honestly, if streaming is only for kids and like Twitch is just like a big website for kids, it's time to start relentlessly bullying people who talk about video games because they're obviously out of their demographic, right? Like all these guys who are tweeting about all their new games they want to play, like the quartering and stuff like that, and like Chris Raygun and stuff. You gotta like relentlessly bully those guys because they're literally fucking kids and adults in a child.
They're man-children. They're man-children.
Well, then they would be the people that talk about video games.
Yeah,
they're literally doing what now?
They're literally fucking adults at a kid's hobby.
RFC After Hours is a live trending issues and entertainment broadcast with co-host Bowblax, broadcasted every weekday, Monday through Friday, starting at 6:30 p.m. Central. The show is for entertainment purposes only. All chat messages and donations read are the words of the original messenger, and certain viewpoints expressed do not reflect that of myself or Bowblax.